Good morning, Texoma, and thanks for joining us. This morning, we're taking an inside look at Read to Learn. It is a new program that just kicked off in the Wichita Falls ISD, and joining me now with the very latest is January Jones. She is the WFISD Pie District Coordinator. So January, thanks for being here this morning.
Thank you. I appreciate it very much.
Absolutely, and this is such a neat program. So tell us, what is Read to Learn?
It is a reading initiative program that we are launching in 7 different elementary schools at the 2nd grade level in hopes to get these children at grade level reading by the end of 3rd grade.
Because whenever you talk about 4th graders, I understand there's kind of a nationwide statistic that almost half of them, 45%, cannot read fluently.
And we all know that if you can't read, you can't do math, you can't do science, you can't do anything. So it's extremely important for children to be able to read. So that's why we're going to launch this with 2nd graders, so that way we can get them reading at grade level by the end of 3rd grade.
I think the ultimate goal here, you had said, you're wanting them to read to learn, not
Yes.
learn to read, you know, if you
Yes.
flip it, but actually reading and understanding so they can grow.
Yes, because it's essential that they can be able to read, like I said, because it's going to affect their future and everything that they do going forward.
So this is all basically done, though, through volunteers, and are they what's really going to determine the success of this program?
Absolutely. This program would not exist if it was not for our volunteers. We have started from ground zero with no volunteers as this program has launched, and so we are continuously looking at getting more volunteers every day.
And Texoma, that is where you come into play. There may be some concerns, you know, I'm not qualified, but you're taking care of that. I know there's training programs or different classes people can go to. You've already had 2.
Yes.
And how did those go?
They went wonderful. The reaction and the community involvement have been absolutely phenomenal, and so it's kicked off and launched very well. Like I said, in all 7 schools, we have about 250 volunteers right now, and we're continually trying to build that.
Absolutely, because like you mentioned, your goal is to have it in all of the schools. Now, right now, we can put that list for you on your screen, but the schools that are in that 7, Alamo, Burgess, Fowler, Houston, Jefferson, Scotland Park, and Washington Jackson. So can you tell me how you went about, because, you know, with all the elementary schools in our area, how do you pick the ones to be the first 7?
Well, there's a couple of different ways that we did it. For one, geographically placed throughout the city, because volunteers need to be able to go either close to their home or close to where they work. And then also based on the needs for the children at those schools. Last year, the 1st graders, there was 23% of last year's 1st graders that were not reading at grade level.
Wow.
And so those 23% 1st graders are now in 2nd grade. And at these 7 schools, 30% of those children are below reading level. So that is the importance, and that's the reason why these 7 were picked.
How did this come about? I mean, is it something that, you know, Pie came up with? Was it something that teachers advised or asked for?
No, actually, Dr. Frazard, our superintendent, this is pretty much his baby. This is something that he's developed and come up with, and there's been lots of marketing strategies and put in place and developing all of this, and it was decided to fall under the Partners in Education office. So with the help of the principals, our campus coordinators, my curriculum specialists, we are all as a team working very hard on getting this all building and launched out to all the campuses. So.
Now, I want to go back to the volunteers because, again, this is where Texoma steps in and helps. And I want to talk about how they are going to make a difference, because what are they going to be doing when they walk in that classroom?
Absolutely. It is about 30 minutes of their time. And we're asking for volunteers to volunteer anywhere between 1 day to 3 days a week, depending on what their availability is. And like I said, it only take about 30 minutes. So the first part of it is going to be the child reading to them, and then the volunteer reading to the child if there's enough time. The most important part is for the child to read, but it's also equally important for the child to hear good reading skills as well. You will be with the same child every time that you volunteer. It will be, for the most part, matched up girl on girl, boy on boy, and if they can only volunteer 1 day a week, then that's fine. That's the child that they will have every week during the program. So.
Why was that important, do you think, to develop that trust and that for that child to be comfortable with that adult?
Absolutely. To build a relationship, that's part of the mentoring as well, because they can build that relationship and actually make a difference in the child's life. They can get comfortable with them and learn to trust them, because it is uncomfortable for them if they can't read. It's sometimes embarrassing, and so it is very important for them to have that consistency.
What do you think is the best part about having this in our schools?
It's essential for us to be able to change statistics. And some of those are that if a child cannot read at grade level by the end of 3rd grade, then they are 4 times more likely to not graduate high school. And then if you add into the equation that they're economically disadvantaged, then they are 13 times more likely to not graduate high school. And unfortunately, 61% of the children in our school district are economically disadvantaged.
Wow.
So statistics are against them if they cannot read. So we have to start changing that pattern.
And I like how it starts with the young, huh? You may not think about that, but I mean, just starting, you know, at 2nd grade here to make a big difference. 30 minutes a week, you said.
Yes.
And how will they go about the training?
It's about 30 to 45 minutes at the most for the training. We go over the importance of the program, where this all started, what their purpose is. We go over how the process is going to work when they get to the school, how the reading material will look like, what their role is, how to handle different situations as things come up. We're also continuing to promote and put the word out there that we're still looking for more volunteers.
Have you heard anything from volunteers? I mean, you said you've already had people sign up. You've already had 2 classes. So what is their reasoning for wanting to do this?
Because I think that they're seeing that that is so important for children to be able to read, and what kind of difference that they truly can make in such a short amount of time, that just something 30 minutes a week can literally change a child's life forever. And I think people get very excited about that. People are always looking for ways to help, and they might not have the money, they might not always have a lot of time, but they could, if they can spare 30 minutes, then they can make a difference. And I think that that's what's special about the program and why we are kicking this off very successfully so far.
I love it, and I think you're exactly right. You said that even if church groups want to do this together, maybe organizations, businesses out there, you'll actually come to them and train them.
Yes, we want this to be as convenient and as easy as possible on all of our volunteers. So yes, we can go to churches, civic organizations, anywhere. I will be glad to come out and do a presentation and even do a training.
Something, Texoma, that you are needed to make this a success in changing these children's lives. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with you. Welcome back to Inside Texoma. Once again, we're taking an inside look at the Wichita Falls ISD Read to Learn program. It just kicked off on Tuesday, and what this is really helping children have their reading skills down to grade level by the time they enter the 4th grade. Now, joining me once again is January Jones, the PIE coordinator for the district, and also Beth Maywald. Thank you, Beth, for being here today.
Certainly.
And she is the curriculum specialist for K through 2nd grade. So Beth, if you can kind of just tell us what your role is whenever it comes to Read to Learn.
Most of the role of curriculum specialist has been in providing the curriculum for this program. We are giving students a book to read with their volunteer each time they meet that's on their reading level. The child's teacher determines that reading level through some evaluations that are done in the classroom. The child begins at that level and will read that level 2 to 4 weeks, depending upon how soon they're ready to be bumped up, and then certainly move them up as they need to be moved up. What this does is gives the child the opportunity to be successful in what they're reading, because it will be something they're able to read. The second part of the program pertains to levels of books that are beyond their reading level that a volunteer will read to them, because it's really important for those students to hear reading with expression and be able to listen and comprehend beyond the means of what they can already read. Our goal is that this is enjoyable for students. A lot of times students that struggle with reading hate to read. They don't want to read, they do not feel successful in reading. And we want to turn that around for those students. We want them to have a good relationship with this volunteer, and for it to be a very relaxed time for them, and for them to enjoy what they're doing. And Therefore, we feel like giving them the opportunity to read something they're able to read, and then being able to listen and discuss and talk about things with their volunteer will help promote success in that area for these kids.
Now, I understand, Beth, that you were a teacher in the classroom at one time, too. So,
Yes.
you know, being a teacher and working with students, is this how you would have maybe gone about this if there was a child struggling in your classroom?
Our teachers are well trained, and they have a hat full of tricks, and they'll do anything to help these kids be successful. But they can always use help.
Yeah.
We need kids to be reading at home, and we have so many parents that support that effort. And then we have others that are just not able to, with work schedules, with things happening. This kind of gives kids the opportunity to practice a little extra. They practice at home with parents. This gives a little extra practice with a volunteer.
Do you think that this will maybe even give some of these kids who were not even able to be on that level an upper hand? Because I could see them maybe even going beyond some of the others who weren't struggling, right, with this
Yes.
one-on-one attention?
That's correct. They certainly have the ability to do that, and we hope that we
Yeah.
see a lot of that.
Absolutely.
You know, moving up the ropes.
How important do you think it is to have people like Beth involved in this aspect instead of just having the student select a book or having the volunteer select a book?
Oh, I mean, it's crucial because, like I said, we could not do this without Beth and without our other curriculum specialist, Misty Spear. They are the backbone in regards to the curriculum part. I mean, I don't have any knowledge or experience in regards to the curriculum side, so it's important that we have guidelines and we have different reading levels established so we can monitor and reevaluate where the child is at, where they need help at, and that's how we're going to determine if they're at that grade level or not. So it's extremely important.
Now, how are you selecting the students? Is this done, again, just by the teachers in the classroom recommending the names?
The teachers hold the golden key to that. They know their students very well. There's some assessment involved. They've just finished doing what we call the Texas Primary Reading Inventory, which gives them a really good sense of where their students are developmentally in the reading process. But then we've also asked them to select students that are just right on the cusp of being where they need to be. They're a grade level behind or so that they can be easily pushed forward, per se.
Now, if there is a parent and maybe they have a second grader and they'd like to learn more and see if their child was selected, maybe their child wasn't, do they, I guess you said the teacher has the golden key, that's the one they need to talk to?
Yes. Most of those parents, they will have received information home from that campus, from the teacher letting them know about this program. All of the parents must sign permission, and they also have some input because I believe there's some questions on those forms, student interest, some things like that would help the volunteer get to know that child better. So the parent plays a large part there in providing that information and allowing us, the volunteers, the opportunity to work with the kids.
What are your thoughts on Read to Learn? Your personal take on this?
Oh, I think it's awesome. We always need more opportunities for our kids, and to bring the community in, and for kids to be able to get to know community members and find out about people and careers and what's going on in the outside world, and to establish that relationship is great for our kids.
I love it. It's such a win-win. And Texoma is something that cannot be done without you. I want to say thank you so much for sharing with us today, and we're excited, as I told January, to continue to follow this program and see how it's impacting so many kids' lives. So
Thank you.
thank you. And stay with us. We'll be right back with much more on Inside Texoma. Welcome back to Inside Texoma. Once again, we are taking an inside look at the Wichita Falls ISD Read to Learn program. This has just kicked off last Tuesday, and basically it's a program that is teaching children to actually read to learn instead of learning how to read. And the goal here to have them reading at their grade level by the time they enter 4th grade. Joining me once again is January Jones. Also, we have Shane Porter joining us. She is the principal at Houston Elementary School here in Wichita Falls. So thank you so much for being here this morning. And we're interested to hear from you because you were right there in the school with the children, and you were telling us during the break that almost half of your second graders are enrolled in this program.
I have 31, 66 second graders on my campus, and 31 are enrolled in the program right now, yes.
I think that number, if not anything, Texoma would be a big wake-up call for a lot of us this morning, because you see the need
Right.
that is really in our schools.
Absolutely.
How do you think this is going to make a difference? You know, just someone coming and taking time to read to these students 30 minutes once a week. What do you think that's going to do for these kids?
Oh, it has to benefit them. The teachers, as we were talking in the break earlier, you know, they're doing everything they possibly can, and they do have a lot on their plate already, and the parents do too. And just another volunteer, that one-on-one correspondence just has to help. Even if it's just reading, you know, for 30 minutes, listening to a child and a child reading back to them. So we are looking forward to it. Our teachers are delighted to have the program implemented at our campus.
She had told us earlier in this program about how students are 4 times more likely not to graduate if they can't read by the 4th grade, I believe it was, and 13 times more likely if they're also facing maybe economic challenges. And can you tell us again those stats at your school whenever it comes to the students?
About 92% is what we have right now. They're low socioeconomic at Houston. And so 31% of those, yes, are definitely in that category, fall in that category. But high expectations makes a difference in that. People absolutely caring and doing the very best we can with those kids. You know, not taking no for an answer. They have to be reading on grade level by the time they get to grade 3, because the state accountability hits at grade 3. So it is a big push to have them reading, and it is a priority.
Why do you think there's so many who cannot?
But just society in general, we're all busy. I think a lot of times we don't necessarily read to them at night like we used to could. Some of our parents are trying to work 2 jobs just to make ends meet. A lot of times parents are single, and you have a single mom or a single father that are raising, you know, more than 3 children. And so the time just gets away from you, and you take a lot of things for granted that, you know, the teachers will pick up the slack and take it. But in reality, there's 22 others in the classroom just like that. And so it just kind of snowballs, and then once they're behind, it just kind of keeps trickling down. There's a lot of factors that contribute to that, school and home. I mean, there's really no one to blame.
Sure.
You know, we all just need to work together and try to make it happen for that kiddo.
And I like how you said sometimes time just does get away from you, and I think, you know, maybe not even on purpose a lot of times, but dinner and bath and maybe soccer or sports or whatever it may be, you know, you're right, the night's just gone before you realize it.
Absolutely.
As a parent then, if they're watching, or a grandparent or maybe an aunt or an uncle, do you maybe recommend people try this at home if they can even, you know, taking that 30 minutes, that maybe 5 minutes, trying to break it up each night and just sitting down with your child and having them read to you for a few minutes?
Yes.
Oh, goodness. Yes, absolutely. It can never hurt to start at home, for sure.
Yes, implement this in your daily life. Make it a priority, even in the car, driving to the soccer fields or out of town to see grandma on the weekends. You know, whatever it is, just, you know, make your conversations be around things like that. Even if you're watching a television show together, you know, have them sum it up. Tell you the main idea or the main characters of the television show. Something just to get their mind triggered about those things that are going to hit on that STAR test, because really we're pushing for that. Our kids check out 2 books every week, and there will always be a library book in the backpack coming from Sam Houston. There will always be books. If not, tell your teacher. There should be.
I love it. Well, we also want to talk about some incentives, because I like how this program just continues. It seems to get better and better, you know. So can you talk about the incentives for these kiddos?
Absolutely. We feel extremely blessed to have gotten so much community support from businesses and civic organizations. We have a group out of Addison, National Life Group, is donating 7 bicycles, 1 for each campus, that will be displayed in the schools. Every time that a child can increase their reading level, then they will get their name put into a drawing for the bicycle, and we will draw that in May. And so that's going to be extremely exciting for these kids. That will keep that incentive and motivation there to continue to want to do good, because we want this to be fun. We are also doing a pep rally in January that we are still working out the details with, but that will be with the help and sponsorship of the Kiwanis. And we will be providing T-shirts and dog tags and hopefully some Kindles to be drawn,
Wow.
different types of things like that to continue encouraging reading.
That's awesome. Makes you want to be a second grader, huh?
Yeah.
So a lot of going on. This is for all second graders too, and I like how you said that was important to do to
Yes.
encourage all of them and keep all of them excited about reading, you know, whether they're a part of this program or, you know, maybe they're doing a little bit better as far as reaching their grade level reading. So they're all included.
Yes.
And I like that. They're all going to be going to one location. And again, that's taking place in January. Real quickly, though, I know we need to go back to the volunteers because you are asking for men to step up and get involved because there's a lot of little boys out there. They need a mentor. You said you want to match them up.
Yes, absolutely. We have at least every child right now, for the most part, is already partnered up with at least one volunteer, and then we do have quite a few out there that are partnered up at least twice a week already. So the goal, again, is 3 days a week, but right now we're at least covered for 1 day a week. But the definitely the need for men is out there, as well as anybody that's bilingual, that can speak Spanish. We need those as well.
Absolutely. And I also like how you said, you know, she had said earlier in the program how you can volunteer up to 3 times a week. You're trying to do that. But don't let that stop you from not, if you can only do it once a week, because you said some children could have 2 or 3 volunteers,
Absolutely.
2 or 3 mentors. So I like that because it doesn't make you feel, oh, I can only come once a week. I don't want to hurt that child. That's not a concern, right?
Nope, absolutely not. If you can only do 1 day a week, give me a call because we need you.
And you said even some high schoolers are getting involved at your school, correct?
Absolutely. The PALs are taking part of this year, which is a different role than what they've done in the past, but it is a great opportunity, and the kids really enjoy the high school kids coming over and helping with this. So they are looking forward to it. It's a win-win for both groups.
Oh, absolutely. I'm sure they really look up to them, so
Oh,
that's
yes.
really neat having them come in the school. So all age groups are really encouraged to get involved. Maybe if you have a teenager and they're trying to hit those community service hours for something, this is a great thing to do as well.
As a business, you could encourage your employees to get involved. Maybe as a business owner, that you could maybe allow your employees to come out and volunteer without it conflicting with their lunch hour. You can help with our incentive packages. We're continuing trying to grow that. Just putting the word out there for us, anything. There's so much that you can do to help this program.
And you know, it is very organized. The curriculum specialists have made it very organized. It's in a box, it's in a folder, and you know exactly where your kiddo is. You just you know, bring your driver's license, check in. We've got to have that security in check, and then you know exactly where your kiddo is. It's not going to be a whole lot of red tape to get through. You know, if you're concerned about that with your lunchtime or just a brief break. It is very easy, but just the presence of a secure and safe, positive role model goes a very long way, and they look so forward to their mentor coming. You know, even if it's just reading for 30 minutes, they do look forward to them coming.
Well, we really appreciate both of you taking time to be here today. And Texoma, we of course appreciate you for joining us this morning. Don't forget to get involved to this Read to Learn program.